The opinions expressed on Scoop Squad Truth Pod are those of the hosts and the guests, not those of WVRC Media. The Scoop Squad Truth Pod is copyright 2023, Scoop Squad Truth Squad, LLC.
Hey, I'm Ashley Switzer, and I'm your host for the Scoop Squad Truth Pod.
Hey, Ashley Switzer.
Hey, Ron Hughes, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just producing along here.
You just interrupted my great speech I was about to give.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to me when you said hi.
No, I was talking to Charleston. Hey,
and to Lincoln County.
We're a podcast that's hyper-focused on politics here in Charleston, West Virginia, as well as in Kanawha County and other surrounding counties in the area. And because of information aired on this podcast, the light is now shining on City Hall and the agencies under its jurisdiction. And to date, we've now seen action taken in an effort to protect the citizens as well as other city employees from further abuse by individuals who were until recently, in positions of power within the city, namely former Chief of Police Tyke Hunt and Chief of Detectives Richie Bassford. We've heard from countless of you out there, as well as members of the rank and file at CPD and even retired members of CPD expressing their gratitude for the work that we're doing here on the Scoop Squad Truth Pod. And we're going to talk about city politics in Charleston, West Virginia city politics. Coming up, we've got Adam Knopf, who is on his way to the studio. He is the former representative on City Council for Ward 7. We have Beth Kerns actually in the studio with us here tonight. She's the current representative for Ward 7 on Charleston City Council. We also are going to try to get Shannon Snodgrass, Ward 11 rep, on the phone with us as well. But first, Ron and I want to take you to Lincoln County.
Well, before we do that, let me acknowledge one of our new sponsors.
Oh, yes.
We have some great sponsors, but our newest sponsor is Jody's Mobile Services, which does steam cleaning, pressure washing, fleet washing, and auto detailing. The great thing is they come to you. You can catch them at 304-437-3164. Again, that's Jody's Mobile Services. And to acknowledge our existing sponsors, we also want to thank very much Chris Walters at Integrity Insurance, offering auto, home, life, business, and workers' comp coverage. But also pet insurance, which is like health insurance for your dog or cat. It also covers specialty food and so forth. They're at 16 Capitol Street. You can reach them at 346-9181 or go to iigwv.com. We also want to thank Eggplant on Bridge Road, which is anything but ordinary, eggplantshop.com, and to T-Graphics on the west side, 312 Buchanan Street. And you can call them at 345-4816. tgraphics.com, screen printing and embroidery since 1984.
I love our sponsors.
We have great
We really do.
sponsors, and they kind of mesh along with our mission.
And our lifestyle. Like, I'm going to have to call Jody. He's going to have to come clean my couches and pressure wash my house.
Yeah, I don't know if he pressure washes couches, but I don't know what
you said steam cleaning.
Yeah, well, he may do. I don't know if that's kind of steam cleaning.
He might
they do
be
like
doing
big
it now.
Tractor trailers.
Oh, okay.
Like
Maybe not.
But,
hey, let's dive right into it.
Yeah, let's dive into it.
I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you intro this Lincoln County issue. I'm going to run let Adam in the front door. How about that?
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm very familiar with Lincoln County, having worked there some in my distant past. But I have on the line David Adkins, who is the mayor of Hamlin, and just kind of give you a little bit of a background. Some folks came to me, and it's still hard not to laugh, although it's not a laughing matter. The county commission had purchased a triple-wide trailer for the health department, and they spent a large amount of money just to buy it. And that doesn't include the installation. And we also have a fellow on the line from Lincoln County who lives in the property next to that, and he will talk about the structural problems with this property because the guy that's calling in is a specialist in steel. He was a bridge inspector for 40 years, so he knows steel and the problems with the steel in this triple wide. So it's you're going to have your eyes opened about property that the government buys and how substandard it can be. But David, I want to thank you and welcome you to the podcast.
Yes, sure thing. Thanks for inviting me.
And if you could just kind of give me a background, I know that the trailer is placed within city limits, but you have a problem with that, don't you?
Yes. Anytime we have ordinances, all municipalities have their own ordinances and laws, and one of ours is on double wides, or in this case,
Triple
it's four wide. 4 pieces of a
is it
trailer.
four? Okay, it was 4. Okay.
Yeah, 4.
And I have pictures of it that I will post on our Facebook page. But tell me what it was for and how much the county paid for it.
I think, I'm not positive on the exact amount. I was looking through the paperwork before you called, and I didn't get to it. But I'm thinking right now they're in it over 700,000 or over 800,000 in it now. And
that's just in the property, or in purchasing the trailer and the property development. Is that right?
Yes, the setup of it,
Okay.
And it was condemned.
It was condemned before. It was condemned after it was placed there.
Right.
And who condemned it?
An engineering company said it wasn't up to standards for a health department.
Okay.
So
the county had purchased this for a health department, and it failed inspection.
Right.
Can you? I've got pictures that I'm going to share, but can you kind of describe what this $800,000 property basically involved?
Well, they tore down the existing building, which
Mm-hmm.
was a stick building, of course.
Okay.
And they didn't, half of it they didn't tear. Half the building that was tore down, they didn't get a permit on that. You got to get a building permit through the town of Hamlin,
right?
For a municipality, and they didn't get that. And then another contractor came in, which they're good contractors. They knew. They came down. They got a permit to finish tearing down the rest of the building and hauling it away.
Okay.
Local company, and then they moved this trailers in, and you got to have a street permit to move up on their streets, and you got to have a building permit approval to set it, and it's got to be so far away from 25 feet from the property line, all the way around. It also has to have a permanent foundation. It also has to have 10 years or newer. That goes with a modular modular or a double wide or four wide,
okay.
or whatever you want to
So
call
it has to be younger or newer than 10 years old, and according to the registration inspection or investigation of I guess they all have like a vehicle ID. It's apparently about 14 years old. Is that not right?
Yes, I think that was the last. Part of it is, and part of it isn't.
Okay.
And I don't know how that worked out, but anyway, the frame is all bent and twisted on it and rusted. Got holes rusted in it.
Yeah, I've pictures that.
It's
that
a
we'll
mess.
share.
I mean, we've got an engineer here sitting in our studio that could probably look at these pictures and.
Oh, it wouldn't take him very long.
Yes, I mean, my first question was when I saw these pictures and saw what the county commission paid for it was who benefited from the sale of this mess.
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's another thing to.
So we
talk
don't
about.
know who they wrote the check to for $800,000 for this triple wide trailer.
I'm thinking it's modular or mobile modular. I believe so. It is.
Is there any connection to from people in Lincoln County or County Commission to this company?
I don't have a clue on that. I wouldn't be able to tell you where they are or not.
Have you looked at the inside of this building?
Do what?
Have you looked at the inside of the building?
No, I have not been in it.
Okay.
But I did read the report, and
The inspection report.
the inspection report, and it is everything in it was loose, I guess, and leaking, and it's off. It's unlevel. The doors won't shut or they won't open. Just everything.
Yeah, if the pictures that I'm going to share on our Facebook page will show that. Excuse me,
It's
the
shimmed
steel
everywhere.
is shimmed. The
the
steel
heck?
beams and the also
Well,
the steel itself is rusted and twisted, but it's sitting on cinder blocks and then shimmed to fit. So those shims aren't going to last more than 5 years.
Have
out
you
in the
had any
open.
communication with the county commissioners about this property? You said that they did not get a permit from the city. Is that what I heard you say?
Yes, you did.
Isn't that a violation of code or?
Yes, I did go up and talk to them before they did this. I heard a rumor that they was going to, and I said, look, I said, you can't put a double wide in. I said, because there's not enough room up here where you're putting it. And anyway, and I told them it had to be, 10 years. And they've got a copy of the ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, there's other people in town try to do that, and I wouldn't let them because, the town wouldn't let them, not me. It's
against code. It's against city code.
It's the code, right? It's against city code, and we wouldn't let them do it because it didn't meet the criteria that we had to have for that. So they thought they just went ahead and done it anyway. And
so, as far as I've seen the pictures of the trailer sitting on the property. Isn't there a code about having enough parking for a building that size? Does it fit into that code?
I don't think we have a code on the parking, but we do. It's supposed to be on a permanent foundation also, and it's just got wood underpinning under it, which is in the report also that it's the wrong type because it's not.
It's just cinder block sitting on mud, and then shims under the between the steel girders and the cinder block.
Well, if you look at those pictures, some of the shims are not even touching.
No.
And the cinder blocks are broke.
So what were they really planning to do? Like go in and after the fact and put in a permanent foundation? That sounds ridiculous.
No.
Because this isn't going to last.
I guess they're just doing whatever they want to. I call this fleecing of Lincoln County.
Absolutely.
It really is, because you spend that kind of money. You could have built a very nice stick block or whatever you wanted, permanent.
It wasn't there a church nearby that was selling for about $150,000 they could have bought?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was the church I go to.
Uh-huh.
LCOC ended up buying it for $150,000, and it's down there on Main Street.
The Lincoln County Opportunity Commission, is that what that stands for?
That's exactly what it is.
I remember.
And this is supposed to be a Health and Human Resources building, is that right? Or a health department? What is it supposed to be, Ron?
It's the health department.
Okay.
The county health department.
County health department.
And the people that work there are being treated very unfairly because they're trying to put the blame on them.
Right.
They don't have.
Obviously, it's just bare ground at this point, bare mud underneath the trailer in these pictures. So there's no kind of preparation for moisture dampening or.
Well, I guess my question is what. So you're the mayor of Hamlin, right? This is happening in your city.
Yes.
So, I mean, what do you care? I mean, I'm trying to, the county commission is doing all this,
right,
and it's probably going to blow up in their faces. I mean, with the looks of that building, what do you want to see happen here?
Well, I've been working with the health department. They're using a basement at the 911 center, mm-hmm. which is very, very humid. You go in there and it's you start to feel sticky. But I've offered them the town hall. We got a community center underneath, a big old community center, and I've offered, and I guess they're going to take me up on it, so they can use that to do their vaccinations and stuff because they can't do it where they're at.
Well, I was going to say, are there people working in this building right now?
No, they
been condemned.
2 weeks inspection, and they told them they had to get out because
So they paid
condemned.
I'm sorry, I came late. I was letting Adam in the front door. They paid $800,000 for a triple wide trailer that's been condemned that nobody can work in, and so
Right.
now they're working in the bottom of a community center.
No, they're in the basement of the 911 center.
Okay, basement of the 911 center.
Yeah, I offered them our community center
Okay.
because so that they can come and do the vaccinations for the kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes time, they can just use it, and because we got kitchens and bathrooms. I mean, it's pretty nice.
I feel like we had this conversation. Did we have Josh Dowers on? Is he part of the county commission?
Yeah, we've had him on before.
Did we ask him about this situation?
I don't think it was about this situation. I think it was a different one.
Okay.
But we did know that this was coming.
Yeah.
That it was going to be a double wide or triple wide, quadruple wide coming, and that it was not in it was not in code. But he kind of danced around that issue, but we didn't know how serious it was at the time.
Right.
Now we know, and the pictures prove
it's
it. And I will have, after you hang up, we will be talking to Alvin Messinger, who is a former Department of Highways engineer, used to working with steel quite a bit, to describe all the problems that are going to arise from this building, plus the drainage of the of water from the top of this hill that the health department sits on, what it's doing to property around them.
Well, has the county commission come out and said anything about this situation? Has there been local reporting on this situation?
Yes, there has. The girl from the Lincoln Journal has been reporting on it. And also, we have a street. It's a right-of-way. It's 50-foot right-of-way beside that. And when they went in there, the clear cutting or whatever, they went in there and cut a bunch of trees down on our right-of-way and just left them laying, which is, that's a snake hazard. And you're in the middle of town there doing stuff like that.
So they're in violation automatically.
Yeah, they're in violation also. There's all kinds of violations. But I am having a special meeting Monday for the town council, and we are going to proceed with a lawyer and do a stop work or whatever.
Cease and desist.
Cease and desist order with our lawyer to get this under control.
I was going to say, have you issued any violation or any?
Oh yes.
Okay, I've issued those already.
I've issued 4 tickets.
Okay.
4 citations from our.
And you haven't heard back from anybody?
So to bring this up to code, they would pretty much have to jack it up, put in a permanent foundation, work on the superstructure or the substructure here, and just to get it in usable shape. Otherwise, so you probably got another couple of $100,000 to get it to be usable. From the looks of it.
I mean, that price tag, $800,000.
When they could have had an old church building for $150,000.
Yeah, they're going to have well over $1 million in this thing.
A really nice church building that already had wheelchair access, for handicap. Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Have they paved any parking around it yet, or done any kind of paving?
Where
at the health department, the trailer site.
It's the same concrete that was with the old one.
Okay. I don't get it.
Interesting.
I mean, like I said, my first question is, who benefited from that sale, that $800,000 purchase?
Well, it'll end up being $1 million trailer one time it's said and done.
Right.
Yeah, but man, follow the money, and then you get your answer,
but,
I guess.
But still yet, they don't have the adequate room that the ordinance requires for the thing to sit there, period, where it was, for our code. You got 25 foot, and they're closer than 25 foot on one side.
To the side of the hill?
To our property line.
To the property line. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
our property line.
So apparently, from what people that live around there have said, they've cut down trees that weren't on their property. Then with the trees that they have taken out, it's kind of created a situation where you're going to have loose soil because this is a hillside.
Right, and they just cut them and left them lay too.
Nice.
But
I saw the pictures.
Who's doing the work?
I don't know who did the work.
You don't know who's doing the construction?
I guess it's that place they bought it off of from this paper I've got, Mobile Modular.
Okay.
So it's called Mobile Modular. And you
Yes.
say it's based out of Georgia?
Yeah, they're out of Georgia.
So they're the ones that physically brought it up here, or you buy it and they bring it up and place it.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to do some
Yeah,
digging.
I
See
was there
who's
when they
behind
helped.
Mobile Modular.
But yeah, poor old Alvin. Whenever they did that, they didn't put silk fence or nothing. Anytime you do construction, because I've done construction for years, you got to put silk fence to catch the mud and stuff from the water. Where bare ground.
Mm-hmm.
All that they didn't do that, and all that ran off and ran underneath Alvin's house. Just mud.
Well, we're going to talk to Alvin in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Kind of hear more of that story, plus his opinion as someone who's worked with steel his whole
knows.
life and with
He's
bridges.
an engineer.
Yeah, an engineer basically. I've seen his certifications, by the way, and he is what he says he is. In fact, David, I think we'll go ahead and let you go and take a break, and then I'm going to bring Alvin on, and then of course I'll send you a copy of the podcast when it's over, so you can hear everything.
Right.
And the
right.
next meeting is when? You're going to have a meeting on when? Did you say Monday?
Yeah, this coming Monday.
Is this a special council meeting or a committee meeting?
Special council meeting because we've been talking about this situation and trying to get something worked out, and we've postponed court once for them and now once for us, and
so what time is that meeting?
court, and that's court at our facility there in town hall.
It's city court.
Meeting 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on Monday evening. When's the next Lincoln County Commission meeting?
It's the first Thursday of every month,
Okay.
and I think maybe the third.
First and third is what most counties
Has
do.
Alan gone to the county commission? Has anybody spoken at the county commission?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he has. And also, I am a House of Delegate for Lincoln County, and I have told him through the House of Delegates that quit wasting money. I mean, you got to answer for this, right?
Right.
The constituents want to know where their money goes.
Who is who is your delegate?
Oh, he is the delegate.
Oh, you are the delegate.
Yeah, I'm the delegate. Yeah.
Okay. So you're the mayor.
I'm the delegate, mayor, and chief of police. So.
Well.
So don't get on his bad side.
I was going to say, all right. Well,
I'm pretty easy to get along
goodness,
with.
if you can't get that done, that's a problem. I mean, with all
You
those
know,
titles,
They're
right?
probably going to have hearings at the legislature over this type of thing.
Maybe.
All
Well,
right.
David, I appreciate your time and
You're welcome.
giving me anything new you hear about. If you can send me any documentation you've got. Also, we'll publish it on our Facebook page.
Okay.
And we'll believe it or not, we'll have a website here pretty soon.
Well, I also got them some free money for the courthouse
Yeah.
to fix the roof.
Uh-huh.
If you paid $100,000, you got $300,000 from the state courthouse repair. I can't remember the name of it.
I remember the bill. Yeah.
Yeah, and they never apply for that.
So I've just looked up, Beth Kerns, who's here with us, looked up Mobile Modular, and it says that they are a leader in the modular building industry. We proudly offer turnkey modular building solutions nationwide.
Yeah, and
Our prefab or custom modular buildings have applications in all major industries, including commercial, construction, education, medical, healthcare, food service, industrial, and government. Our expansive portfolio includes mobile offices, modular complexes, portable classrooms, modular restrooms, modular kitchens, building accessories, and more. And they are available to rent, lease, or purchase today.
well, it looks like they also are, experts in temporary office space as well.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say they're in the business. It doesn't look like they specialize in permanent.
With locations across the country, we can ship modular buildings quickly to your site to keep you on schedule.
Well, let's not give them too much of a commercial.
No, what I'm saying, look Like that's clearly false advertising. Like I want to know who was responsible for seeking out this company in Georgia, and then who agreed to blindly write a check for $800,000 for a piece of crap. It's crazy.
And we all know that modulars, when you're using them commercially, 10 to 12 years is a lifetime.
Goodness! I'm teaching in a modular classroom right now, and they are. Whew,
this one's already 10 to 14 rough. Years old to begin with.
They're rough. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Well,
David, we're going to let you go and get Alvin Messinger on the phone and hear things from his. He's got a little bit more of a close-up view of this and get his thoughts.
Thank you so much.
I also have a video of the water coming off of.
Oh, cool. We can put that on the Facebook page.
Hill coming down towards his property and what it's done to his property.
Right.
Hey, we'll keep it. Yeah, we'll keep in touch with you. Okay.
Okay. Sounds great.
Thanks so much.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye.
Charleston, you hang. Are we going to take a break?
We're going to take a break.
Okay, you guys hang in there. We'll be right back with the second scoop.
The Scoop Squad Truth Squad would like to thank our sponsors. Those include Chris Walters at Integrity Insurance, featuring auto, home, life, business, workers' compensation, and pet insurance. Pet insurance, you say? That's health insurance for your dogs or cats that covers special foods, illnesses, surgeries, and medication. They're on 16 Capitol Street in Charleston at 346-9181, or reach them at www.iigwv.com. Also by Jody's Mobile Services, offering steam cleaning, pressure washing, fleet washing, and auto detailing. We come to you. They're at 304-437-3164. And also by Eggplant on Bridge Road. Anything but ordinary. Go to eggplantshop.com. Also by T-Graphics on the west side. 312 Buchanan Street, 345-4816. Go to tgraphics.com for screen printing and embroidery since 1984. Again at 345-4816.
And we're back with the second scoop of the Scoop Squad Truth Pod. We are talking Lincoln County Health Department mess. $800,000 building.
So far, today.
Has not passed. It was condemned. Is that what you said?
Right. Yeah. It didn't pass inspection.
But we pay $800,000 for it, or Lincoln County does. Okay.
Well, I'm sure some of that came from money given to Lincoln County.
Well, I don't care where it came from.
Yeah. It's all taxpayer money.
It's not. That's not put to good use in my opinion.
So we have Alvin Messinger.
Hey, Alvin, how are you?
He's a neighbor.
I'm just fine.
You're a neighbor. You're a neighbor of this building.
Yeah, it's right behind my house up on the hill.
And
right behind your house.
We're
Okay.
going to ask you about your adventures with this being next door to you, but we also going to get your opinion of the structure itself because you're worked at the Department of Highways for bridges, so you dealt a lot with beams and steel beams and other substructure of steel construction, and you've got some opinions on this from an expert point of view as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's let's start at the beginning. At what point? How long has it been since they placed this up near your house, and when did the problems begin?
They started landscaping, if you want to call it that. They started cutting all the trees behind my house, and that's when I became aware that what was happening. I didn't know what was going on
until the water came down, I guess.
Yeah, after they moved that building in there, it's a modular. It's a 3-piece modular, and they brought it in, 3 sections at a time when they erected it, or they put it where it's at right now. And I think that was sometime in maybe March when I believe, because
March of this year. Or
I
last
believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Somewhere along about that period.
Well, you can tell from the pictures that it was, late winter, early spring.
Yes.
When everything was wet. So you kind of watched them as they did this, and you were looking at it from two perspectives. One as a property owner right next door, I guess kind of below down the hill from it, but also as I guess someone with Department of Highway Engineering background as well.
Yes, sir. I worked for civil engineers and structural engineers in bridge safety inspection.
When did you first start realizing there was a huge problem?
Well, I got flooded first from all the runoff because the whole area up there is a concrete, is all solid concrete drive. It's to pull your cars in on, and it's all painted in a manner toward the walking track, which is behind my house. And when it came that rain, when we got flooded down here, Mud River, it got over the road, blocked us in on both ends. It was a lot of rain. I just looked out my kitchen window in my kitchen, and I saw this water look like a river coming down that track, and I had no idea, where it was coming from until I got out and looked. It was coming off that site.
Mm-hmm.
There was no containment, no silt fences. Nothing was ever put up to, the right thing to have done was to have at least to have contained the area, but I don't believe that any one of them knew about, that circumstance or what would happen if it rained.
So just to get a clear indication, the picture shows that the property is placed on cinder blocks on top of dirt, but I guess next to that is concrete, like a parking lot. Is that
the whole parking area up there is concrete. It's been like that for some time. I don't know how long it's been like that, but it's been that way for a pretty good while because the health department, which was in a house structure, wooden structure, it had been there for, gosh, I don't know, 35, 40 years, maybe 50 years. I don't really know the whole length of time.
So they tore that building down to place this what is it, triple wide, quadruple wide product.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So they're just basically placing these cinder blocks that hold the trailers up, and you'll be able to see the pictures.
Do you know who's doing this construction work, Alvin, by any chance? We asked the mayor, and I don't think he knew.
Well, no. I don't know who the contractor was. Don't know if it was a legitimate contractor.
So has work on this property stopped?
Oh yes, yeah. There's not been any activity up there since. Oh Lord, it's been 2.5 months. I guess when they came in, they tried to get a final inspection done. That was through the county commission, and when that happened, like Ron said, it failed. It didn't pass the inspection.
Have you gone to the county commission?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Have you gotten answers from them? What kind of questions have you asked them, and what kind of answers have you gotten?
Well, I presented. I went there. It's been probably 4 weeks now, or 5 weeks ago. I'd have to look at my calendar, but I went to a county commission meeting on the advice of some people in the courthouse that I knew. When I showed, they knew I had the photographs, and I I kind of made some questions about what was going on. So I went to the meeting, and I was the last, I was the last person there to go on at the end of, when everyone else had brought their agendas and stuff up. And, I told them who I was, and I gave them my background, what I did in structural integrity, and I was a bridge safety inspector under the state of West Virginia, but set up by the federal government, the Federal Highway Administration.
So you have credentials.
Well, yes, ma'am. I'm not, West Virginia had some great people. Everybody I worked with, they were all well-educated people, and we were educated in bridges. We knew quite a bit about our bridges.
Right. And you went to council or to the commission, and you said what?
Well, I got to, I took these photographs out, and the president of the commission and one of the other ladies that worked there. There were four people there that night. There's four members. One was the office secretary, and the three other people were legitimate county commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the photos out, the same ones that Ron has there that I'd had developed and everything, and I asked the president of the commission, Mr. Stowers. I said, "Do you know anything about this and about these, this situation we're dealing with up here?" I said, "It's kind of, we got a terrible mess here." And they just didn't seem to know a lot about it, but nobody was ever there watching. Whoever did this, there was no quality control on the site. Nobody watching who was doing what, and what they did there. What they initially did, they came up here with some kind of a drill machine. They drilled holes in the ground, and they poured concrete pedestals in the ground, circular pedestals that you can see from some of those pictures where the cinder block set on the substructure. That's the support foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they brought it up. And they did a poor job of getting everything on the same grade elevation-wise. 8 or 10, 15 of those pedestals, that's why you see all the wooden blocks under there. The unit wouldn't set down as hopefully designed or whatever. It wouldn't set down, so they had to scotch it up with wooden blocks.
What we would call shimming it up.
Yes, sir.
If you're in a contractor.
Yes, sir.
And these are wooden shims, that aren't going to last, what would you say, 5 years at the most?
Yeah, probably, because there's a lot of dampness up there, and the water runs off of that, where the thing is set now. The water comes down in around it, so there'd be a lot of dampness. And I'd say 5 years would be a long life for those before they started showing signs of deterioration.
What's your opinion of the steel that's under, that's holding up the floor, or basically holding up the whole thing? This is the steel supports underneath it. What's your opinion of that? Since you've been in steel, working with steel since what, 1969?
That's when I was born.
Pardon me?
Never mind.
I think it's when some of the steel was born.
Well, I started, working in the bridge department in 1969, right out of high school. And I spent 33 years there. And we had some really great people that structural engineers. Bob Smith was the man who created our program here. He's a great guy, really intelligent intellectually. And I worked through that most of the time, but I worked under mostly under civil engineers and structural engineering people that administered the program, the inspection program, through the state of West Virginia.
So you've got a background.
Yes, sir. I would think so. Yes, sir.
So you've inspected the steel. What do you think of it?
Oh, I told them at the meeting. I said the exterior beams around the frame. I said they're all compromised. Mm-hmm. I said
that means it's damaged, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When they wherever this thing was set up at another site, I showed you there yesterday. I said where someone at the end of the beam, where they were on the bearing areas, they'd take a cutting torch and they split the web and the bottom flange apart. That was crazy to do that because that's what it just made that exterior beam where they done that at. They done it on just about all of them on the back side. Every one of them was done that way, and it was crazy. I'd never seen nothing like that. And what it did is it just made the exterior beams practically obsolete. Mm-hmm. Put it that way. They wouldn't work the way they were designed as a support superstructure from the foundation, which was the substructure. They just didn't work. They wouldn't work that way. They were already, heavily compromised, in my opinion. The integrity of them was like zilch.
Well,
Now,
I think integrity all the way around has been kind
and
of
if,
zilch.
from what I understand, there was not a building permit issued by the city. So there was no, if there had been a building permit, wouldn't there have been random inspections on this as it was being worked on? Like when you get a building permit for something, you have to go to the city, you have to file for it, you have to say what you're doing. And then people come and inspect as the process is going on. Am I right? Is that right? But they didn't do that. So nobody was overseeing this because the city wasn't even told that it was happening because they didn't even get a building permit. Does that make sense?
That's what I understand, ma'am. And had they, and you're right, had there been a permit, I don't know why there wasn't. Everything was kind of done in the dark. Nobody really knew. It just stuff. Nobody knew about it, including our mayor. Our mayor of our town here. Nobody knew until you had seen these people up here working. And but someone in quality control who had some kind of a background in watching what people were doing should have been on that job. And if they had have been intellectually smart about what they saw, when they moved this thing in, they would have never accepted it.
Right. Well, it just begs questions all around. Adam, you wrote something down. You said the building permit is temporary. Hold on. Wait, let's turn on your mic. Adam is a former city council person. He's here with us this evening. He's been listening to this testimony.
Yeah, I've been listening. The thing that I wanted to mention, we were talking about the building permit, was that, building permits are supposed to be temporary. So,
right.
I think the interest of the city is, you come in, you apply for a building permit, you get 60, 90, it depends on the project.
To finish
look
it.
at it, to finish it. So if you're not done within that temporary status, then you have to come back and get it, and then that might cause alarm to, hey, maybe we need to go out and see what they're doing. Or you do get it finished, and then you need to get some kind of certificate of occupancy or, pass some kind of inspection depending, on the project. So, I don't understand how it got this far, with just either a temporary permit or no certificates of occupancy or any kind of building inspection.
It's a really good point.
Passing. Yeah.
It's a really good point. Well, I just texted a commissioner, and I'm just going to ask him. I asked him, help me shed some light on this.
Well,
Make this make sense.
Yeah, probably won't get much of an answer.
Well, we'll see. I hope so. If Alvin has gone to the commission and commission do they just kind of act like they didn't know what's going on, Alvin?
Well, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah, more or less. That was my opinion of it. That doesn't mean I'm right, but
right. That's just that was your perception.
Yes, ma'am. That
Okay.
was my personal opinion of it, and
well, maybe they don't.
I told Ron yesterday. We talked about a lot of things, and I asked them point blank at the meeting. I said, how did we ever get this kind of a building in place that's damaged like this? I said, what we got is a pig in the poke.
Yeah.
I said it's a terrible something to. It's just beyond me. I still don't understand why that that would have been allowed to even take place like it did, with nobody in control of it. Everyone done it in kind of behind closed doors. Nobody really knew.
Yeah, the city council should have. I don't understand. Adam, you were on city council. Would city council? Beth, you were on city council. Would city council have been brought this type of? If
this had been Charleston and the county commission decided they wanted to build something like
in
this
Charleston
city limits, what would happen?
Well, I'll defer to Beth, but if the city of Charleston is going to spend $800,000 on something, it has to be voted on, by city council. But if it's all county commission money, then the city council wouldn't necessarily vote on the expenditure itself.
But there would be the matter of the building inspection.
Yeah, but obviously then the building inspection,
you'd want your
would fall under the
fees and all
city.
that.
There would have to be permits, just like anybody else.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Alvin, I appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you so much. And we're going to keep following this story.
We'll
and
be
mostly,
on top of this. We probably will talk to you some more.
Yeah. I just want to
Well,
find out who. I want to find out who got $800,000 for that thing.
Is our mayor? Is he online here too?
No, he was on previously.
You have something to
he
say?
had
You have something to say to him? We can pass a message.
Oh well, no. He's been up he's kind of been up against a hard place too. He's got no cooperation from no one, and it's been really a nightmare. And to me, my opinion of it is it stinks to high heaven. Something is not right.
Yeah.
And the people in this county, the citizens here, we're all tax-paying citizens. We want better, we deserve better, and we demand better.
Well, every county health department needs to be livable, to be safe. I mean,
we're also talking a property. Your property's being damaged. That's not acceptable.
Well, I put out there, the hardest thing for me when that happened, my wife she's a cancer patient, and she was under chemotherapy. I was having to take her to the hospital a lot. She was sick. I was having to take care of her. It was really an aggravation to me, just having to go out and trying to see my property being flooded, water under my house,
Yes, that is unacceptable.
Yeah, and it was just an aggravation.
So, what do you think the pulse of the city is? Are people aware of the situation? Are they making their voices heard? Are they contacting county commission? Is there a lot of activity within the tax base there?
No, not that I'm aware of, except our town council members. I understand from our mayor, from Mr. Aggins, that they're rather all upset about how this all came down, and because they were in violation of code that's in our town,
right?
And they have the right. They have the right to be that way, but there's no transparency whatsoever to the people here, and there's no accountability to the people here.
And it's been like that for a long time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It has. It really has.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I know that's frustrating and horribly, horribly discouraging when you feel like your government is not accountable and not transparent. I know how that feels.
Well, I'll tell you one thing before maybe I don't know how much it would mean anything, but I really believe this, and I wouldn't have made the statement, and I would not have said it if I didn't know from my background of how I worked and what I worked with. And believe me, we had a lot of junk bridges in this state. They were beat to death when the program started after the Silver Bridge. And we were on all kinds of bridges that were, some of them near collapse because they was never maintained. But the thing that's appalling about it is there's no answer from nobody. No one has ever stood up and publicly said, look, somebody made a mistake. And I told Ron yesterday, and I firmly believe this, the people in Georgia, whoever owned or had this unit, they should be called on the carpet by a court order or somebody to make them, force them, subpoena them to come here and answer questions as to who'd you sell it to? Who cut the deal? Who signed the papers? I mean, those people now committed a great fraud against the citizens of Lincoln County.
Amen.
And every taxpayer in West Virginia.
Yes,
it's
sir.
Everybody's money.
That's right.
And
You
that's
are 100% right, and we're going to keep after this.
We're going to stay on top of it. This isn't the last.
This is
of it.
not acceptable, and this is exactly what we like to do. We like to try to fix this stuff.
Right.
Well, I hope that good things happen for everyone here, and that we can get over this issue, and maybe have a nice building, but. I think maybe David, our mayor, probably told you some of the options that were presented to them that they turned down.
Yes, we are aware of that.
And that just really just reeks of something that's not right there.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire. So
Yes, ma'am.
there's a lot of smoke here. So
Yes, ma'am.
yeah,
Alvin, we're going to have to let you go.
Yes.
Get ready for more problems with government. This time in the city of Charleston. But you and I were going to stay in touch, and
Yes, sir.
we're gonna work out. Try to get some more answers on this. Right now, we're raising questions.
that's right. Alvin, thank you so much. And again, I'm so sorry for this situation, and I know you're frustrated, and but this is talking about it. I think we're gonna get awareness, and I think we'll get some action soon.
All right.
Yes. Well, listen, I want to thank you all for having me on.
Of course.
Letting my voice be heard to some people, but I believe in what I did was right, and because I knew that whatever I saw, I knew was wrong. It wasn't proper.
That's
and it was
right. Well, we appreciate you, sir.
Yes, well, ma'am, I appreciate you all, and thank you so much, and y'all have a good evening.
All right, Charleston. We'll be back with a third and final scoop of the Scoop Squad Truth Pod in 1 minute.
The Scoop Squad Truth Squad would like to thank our sponsors. Those include Chris Walters at Integrity Insurance, featuring auto, home, life, business, workers' compensation, and pet insurance. Pet insurance, you say? That's health insurance for your dogs or cats that covers special foods, illnesses, surgeries, and medication. They're on 16 Capitol Street in Charleston at 346-9181, or reach them at www.iigwv.com. Also by Jody's Mobile Services, offering steam cleaning, pressure washing, fleet washing, and auto detailing. We come to you. They're at 304-437-3164. And also by Eggplant on Bridge Road. Anything but ordinary. Go to eggplantshop.com. Also by T-Graphics on the west side, 312 Buchanan Street, 345-4816. Go to tgraphics.com for screen printing and embroidery since 1984. Again at 345-4816.
And you're back with the Scoop Squad Truth Pod. We're on the third scoop. It gets my blood boiling when I hear stories like that. I just want to go straight to Lincoln County and start banging on the doors.
Why is it always Lincoln County and Calhoun County?
I don't know, but he said something that resonated with me. He said, nobody's saying anything. Everybody makes mistakes. Usually all people want from you is to hear you say, hey, we messed up. We could have done better. We're going to do better in the future. And we're sorry. But guess what? They don't. They double down. They continue to cover up. And it's just madness. Who raised these people? Everybody makes mistakes. None of us are perfect. None of us do everything right. Everybody makes mistakes and messes up. But you acknowledge your mistake and you go to the people who you wronged, in this case, the taxpayers, and you say, we're going to try to get it right next time. And you know what? Most people would be like, okay, gosh darn it, I'm back on your team. But don't happen. Does it? Does it, Beth?
No.
So we've got Beth Kerns in the house. We've got Adam Knopf. Shannon has had to, I think she is not going to be able to make this. She had somebody come to her house, but that's okay. We'll have her on next week. And I did get some follow-up with Josh Towers. He just reached out to me. He is on Lincoln County Commission, and I will talk with him later. But so we're going to talk a little bit of City Council. Beth, you have your, she's your predecessor.
No, I'm Beth's predecessor.
You're
Beth
Beth's
is the upgrade.
Okay.
In the current company. She's the one.
I don't know if I'm an upgrade.
She's the one steering the ship for Ward 7. I'm just a neighborhood volunteer.
You know what?
She is what evolved from that last election.
Well, and I think what's interesting about Beth is that when City Council was, when the election was going and people were running for these seats, You were on the slate of Charleston Can't Wait, which is an
Correct.
arm of West Virginia Can't Wait.
Correct.
So when I see West Virginia Can't Wait and Charleston Can't Wait, I see, and look, I like Joe Solomon. Joe and I, like, we talk now. We're very friendly. We don't agree on a whole lot.
Who does?
I know, exactly. But we have a decent congenial relationship, right? But I do feel like he's far left, and I feel like that West Virginia Can't Wait has a very, as far as I'm concerned, being very conservative, a more leftist agenda.
Way left
but
of center.
but you did actually run under that slate, and you have really just changed my opinion of how do I want to say that? I don't want to be like I guess I didn't expect from a Charleston Can't Wait candidate what I've seen out of you, which is basically fighting for what I've and Adam and Shannon Snodgrass and others on council, conservative members of council have been crying about for so many.
Transparency is what you're looking for.
Transparency
me
and
say
accountability
this.
it should be a no-brainer.
I don't consider myself left or right.
Mm-hmm.
I consider doing what's the best in every situation.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I do the best, but I try to do the best.
Right.
Whether it's lefter or righter,
Right.
I don't know, but I try to do what's the best. And
what your constituents want you to do.
exactly, exactly. I try to get all the information and then do what's best for the constituents,
Right.
based on their input and making everything transparent.
Well, let me ask you this. How hard has it been getting information from this administration?
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible. It's always, I'll get right with you.
I'll circle back.
I'll
We'll have a
circle back.
meeting. Right.
And nothing.
I was going to say, is that was that something you expected when you went on council? What is the biggest shocker? Is that the biggest shocker?
Probably. Probably.
That information's just not readily available.
It's not readily available. The only way you really learn is by going to all the committee meetings.
Right.
And most council members cannot attend all the committee meetings. I try to go to all of them. I don't make it to all of them. But, I could easily go to 5 meetings a week.
Yeah.
And they're at various times of the day, and people work. Fortunately, I'm retired. But still, I can't get to all of them because I
Right.
have a life besides
Right.
city council.
So do you feel like has it ever been said that by a council person that everybody's just supposed to vote the same way? Like, we're just supposed to vote as a unit, and like, what is that?
It's not said that, but there is definitely folks that lead or expect people to vote along with them. Sometimes people will talk to you before a vote. One person told me that when everybody told them to vote one way, they voted the opposite because they knew there was something wrong.
Wow.
That just tells you. And she became a friend of mine real
Isn't
quick.
that interesting?
And but talking about Charleston Can't Wait.
Yeah.
The name says it all. We can't wait and kick these cans down the street anymore. These, we take up issues that need to be dealt with. And that's what I'm here to talk about tonight is the overtime on the Charleston Police Department. This can has been kicked down the road and covered up
For a long time.
for a long time. And the Charleston Can't Wait folks believe in taking action, and we work very hard on finding out the details on things to move things forward and to improve the city.
You have definitely been, okay, so there's several people on that slate. There's Joe Solomon, there's Chelsea Stillhammer, there's
And
Mike
Dr.
Farrell, Frank
Dr.
Annie.
Frank Annie.
Okay. You've definitely been the most outspoken. Do you feel that way?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But you have to
Do you have
understand,
support from them?
I have support on most everything from them. But you have to understand, I'm almost twice their age. That makes a big difference.
How so? So are they skeptical of you, or do they?
At first they were, but they have come to find out that when I speak something, I know what I'm talking about.
Experience matters. Age matters. With age comes wisdom.
Right. And I have a lot of background about Charleston. I've lived through many mayors in
Yes.
Charleston, and I've seen a lot. And I know the connections and the networking from a lot of folks in Charleston.
Well, I'm surprised because I really am surprised that Joe hasn't been more outspoken as far as this overtime issue and as far as the CPD issue and the assaults on women within CPD. I'm really confused about that.
I'm confused not just by him, but by most of City Council.
Yeah.
If you look, there was only 5 people that voted for an investigation.
Just an investigation.
Just an
that's it.
investigation to find out what was going on.
Yeah.
And that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I told people, if the investigation, if a bona fide investigation takes place, I will live with whatever the situation happens afterwards.
Right.
Because I don't think there was ever a real investigation.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
And now I think there is a real investigation.
Well, and as a result of a real investigation, quite immediately, 2 officers were put on administrative leave.
Absolutely.
Quite abruptly.
And things.
And now we've got an issue with overtime. Adam, feel free to jump in here because you were at the council meeting on
Yeah,
Monday
I was
as
at the
well.
council meeting, and one of the things I thought was interesting, and maybe you shared in that frustration, was that council member Shannon Snodgrass, and certainly I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she seemed to ask for other council members to join in and to care about what's going on. First of all, just care and pay attention, but secondly, asking for some kind of audit, whether it be to the city auditors, which is done on Stoniker, or somewhere else. I mean, what do you think about that, Beth? Do you think the city's going to go down that route, or do you think city council is not going to be able to even get that?
I don't think they're going to do anything about that. But what I'm
just a
hearing
shame.
is since I've spoken out, and since Shannon spoke out, I have constituents calling me, messaging me. I have current police officers talking to me.
Yes.
I have former police officers talking to me. Everybody is furious with the waste, fraud, and abuse, basically, of this. And they're applauding me. They're telling me to keep going, not to give up. And I think that they're seeing some changes.
I hope they get loud. I hope that they.
Well, I'm going to invite anybody that's listening. I invite you to come to the next city council meeting.
Yes.
And be a public speaker.
Yes.
And we need that.
You can come to city council. You can sign up, and all you have to say is investigate the overtime situation in CPD, and then sit down. It's it.
You don't have to give.
It doesn't have to be a big
dissertation.
elaborate
Right.
speech. But the mayor is standing up there and miscategorizing, misrepresenting this whole thing by I'm not going to disparage our police. We've got the highest solve rate and this and that and the other thing. The patrolmen are not the ones receiving the overtime.
There's just a few of the higher ups that are getting it. It is not due to any shortages we have on the police department. The department heads and the higher ranking officers, all those positions are filled.
Yes.
And I just want to break this down.
Sure.
To
I
some
would say,
folks.
Beth, talk about some of those numbers, because
Yes.
you
Okay,
brought
this
up those during the
this
council
is-
meeting. I think it would just be shocking for everyone to hear.
Exactly. Now, this is during the year, fiscal year 2017, which goes from the 1st of July to the end of June
The next year.
of the next year. We had 179 officers that logged 60,000 hours of overtime that cost $1.9 million. But in 2023, we had 189 officers that logged 78,000 hours of overtime at a cost of $2.988 million, almost $3 million. That amount was not in our budget. I want to know what they're going to take away from, what's going to be sacrificed. Is it going to be police equipment? Is it going to be maintenance on the vehicles? Is it going to come from another department?
It usually comes in a lot of cities. It comes from another department. Like Parks and Recs is going to have to give up something.
Something's going to have to give somewhere, because just like at your household budget,
Sure,
money's
And Charleston's
only
not the only city with that issue.
Right.
It's but they have the largest problem.
Right.
And the largest numbers. Do you know how many of those officers were were mostly the ones that got the overtime?
There was about 10 to 12 that had the most.
And those were the
overtime.
ones with the higher echelon
Right,
of the
higher
department?
echelon.
What other numbers you got there, Beth?
Okay. Well, I do want to pull this from a report that I read that repeated overtime causes chronic fatigue, increases heart attacks, strokes, and on-duty injuries. People make, when they have to make a critical decision and they're overworked, it makes it difficult. And in police work, you have to be able to think in seconds.
Yeah.
Because your life is in
Well,
danger.
I think part of the issue with that, Beth, is that I think a lot of the outrage is coming from the fact that are these people that are receiving this kind of overtime, are they actually working 8 extra hours of overtime per day, or are they getting 4 hours credit of overtime for a phone call? So, you know what I mean?
Well, the highest numbers of the overtime that we were looking at ranged from about 1,000 hours to 2,546 hours of overtime
Per year?
for the year. One individual got the 2,546 hours. Now, let's do some simple math. If you divide that by 52 weeks, that adds up to 49 hours of overtime on top of their 40 hours that they've
Per
worked.
week.
So that's 89 hours of work for every single week in 2023. That would include holidays, sick days, vacation, whatever. This one individual's regular salary is $62,500 a year. Their overtime payment was $113,000 for a total of $175,500 a year.
What rank of officer?
Yeah, was
He's,
that
he's a department head, and he has stated that if he takes a 5, 10, 15-minute phone call, he turns in 4 hours of overtime.
Did he say who authorized that or who
He
signs
said
off
that was
on
just
that?
the common policy for them to do.
In what world does management even get
What
overtime?
in the
It doesn't happen in
world?
my world.
And it
Right.
doesn't happen in any other area of city government. Look,
Right. And then this is the part of the ongoing problem with it is at the end of their careers when they're trying to pad their income, that's because it will reflect on their retirement.
Right.
Our city police and firemen's retirement system is in a grave situation
Yeah.
for funding. So all of these folks getting all this extra overtime is going to put an
well,
undue
it's like
stress
someone
on
said
that.
to me the other day, the pension board should sue the city.
Right.
The pension board
Now,
should sue the city.
The state sets up the pension system. The
Uh-huh.
cities have to follow it. They have no choice.
Yeah.
A lot of cities are handcuffed on how to pay for that. This doesn't make it any easier for the city.
This is
Right.
contributing
to
to it, making it worse. And I've had retired policemen calling me, telling me, thank you for bringing this forward. And I want to address one more thing.
Sure.
Somebody during city council said that no amount of money was worth someone's life. I will agree.
Yeah, that was Janine
I
Fabry.
will agree with that. I'm a 25-year military veteran. I'm sorry to get emotional.
No, it's okay.
I'm a mother of a state trooper, a West Virginia state trooper, for 22 years. I understand the value of a life. No amount of money. $175,000? No. $10 million? No. There is no amount of money. But it's not worth
That was a
committing waste, fraud, and abuse.
And that
in
was
our
a
city.
patronizing statement to make.
It really was.
And I mean, I'm sorry to get upset.
No, it's okay.
But, you know, people that put on a uniform do it because they want to serve our city. They want to serve our community. It's not supposed to be about the money.
And it's
about
not, right.
what I can do to help others.
And
right.
the people that are in the trenches, they're not the ones getting the
They're
money.
not the one getting
ones
the
that's-
money.
That's,
Right.
that's in the most
These are
danger.
not the traffic officers. This is not the patrol officers. They work a 12-hour shift, and they get very little overtime.
Yeah.
And
this affects them. This affects their
Absolutely.
morale.
absolutely affects their morale.
Yeah. I see the pain. I couldn't believe that statement either. That was shocking. That was a jaw dropper.
But it's
you
not
know,
surprising.
I'll say, one of my concerns are just being your constituent, Beth. First of all, just that, I think you do a great job and I understand why you're so much. Well, it's hard when you look at these numbers. I mean, I did it for 4 years and just pulled my hair out, at least what was left.
Yeah.
If we're paying just one officer, over $100,000 in just overtime, on top of the regular salary. I mean, we're talking just a your average constituent. I would much rather have 3 patrol officers,
Right.
3 officers on the beat versus, a department head versus 1 department head.
Or-
I mean, I think
or-
we're just going the wrong way.
What about this idea? You and Shannon tried to get raises for the police officers, and that's been kicked down the can down
Yeah,
the street.
not only that,
Because the ones in power were taken care of.
the chief of police and the mayor lobbied against it, actively lobbied
That's
against
what I'm
them.
talking about.
Yeah.
So why
Because they're
not
taken care of.
take that money
Right.
and pay our officers
More.
a better
A
salary?
decent wage, yeah.
I'm not against the police department. I don't know what people think about me, but I am not against the police department.
Are you being told that? Or do you just...
That's how the opposition is framing it during the meetings.
I am not
Yeah.
against the administration.
Right.
I am against waste, fraud, and abuse. I was a government employee for many years. I have seen it, and I'm tired of it. And I'm in a position where I can do something about it, and I will be outspoken. And a lot of people on council don't want to hear it. I can almost hear their eyes rolling in their head when I start talking.
Well, it's
and I
probably
don't
an echo
care.
from some emptiness inside there.
That's right.
I don't care.
Right.
I really don't
You
care.
know, you get to a certain age and you really don't care. And no, I just don't care anymore. I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I
Exactly.
think is right. I'm going to do what I think is what I know to be right. There are rights and wrongs in this world.
Right.
And I'm going to do it. So I don't really care what you think about it. Hate me or not.
I hear you, sister.
I think we're soulmates.
Yeah, we're here to take care of,
Yeah.
one, the citizens and the citizens' money, but also the rank and file.
That's right.
The ones that are really suffering,
That's
because
right.
anytime the police department reputation is damaged,
Yeah.
these are the kids, and I'm sorry, the people that really are the public face.
Yeah,
So,
and it just this whole situation has just been I just think incredibly egregious to have those in top with that much power committing this type of abuse. It's
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I worked in recruiting for the military for many, many years. I was their advertising and marketing person. And our best recruiter for the military was a happy soldier and
Yeah.
a happy retired soldier.
that's right.
And so when you have dissension on the police force or people retire from the police force and they have seen this corruption and they have been mistreated and they're not paid well, they're not going to recommend people.
Right.
But if they're happy
Yes.
in their position and they're proud to be a part of it,
Yeah.
they are your best recruiter.
That's right. That's 100. That's smart. That's just smart.
It's easy.
It's smart, and I feel like that the numbers have gone way, way, way down. We're seeing that happen in Charleston. We got to wrap it up though, because that went really fast. Beth, I hope you'll come back.
I will.
Adam,
I'm not done yet.
Oh, sis, I know. I can't wait. And you've got a heck of a life story. I want to just come and sit and talk with you about your life because it's pretty fascinating. Adam,
Thanks for having me. But, if you can lock Beth and keep on coming, you won't need me.
Well,
No, Adam.
I like Adam. I like
not
just
getting
looking.
out of this.
Yeah, you in it now, buddy.
if we're going
you in it.
down, you're going down.
All right, Charleston, that's going to do it. That's 3 scoops of the Scoop Squad Truth Pod, and we will talk at you next week. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would like to tie your business with this popular podcast, you can contact me, Ron Hughes, to advertise at ron.hughes, ron.hughes, at wvradio.com, or you could call me at 304-342-8131. The Scoop Squad Truth Squad would like to thank our sponsors. Those include Chris Walters at Integrity Insurance, featuring auto, home, life, business, workers' compensation, and pet insurance. Pet insurance, you say? That's health insurance for your dogs or cats that covers special foods, illnesses, surgeries, and medication. They're on 16 Capitol Street in Charleston at 346-9181, or reach them at www.iigwv.com. Also by Jody's Mobile Services, offering steam cleaning, pressure washing, fleet washing, and auto detailing. We come to you. They're at 304-437-3164. And also by Eggplant on Bridge Road. Anything but ordinary. go to eggplantshop.com. Also by T Graphics on the west side, 312 Buchanan Street, 345-4816. Go to tgraphics.com for screen printing and embroidery since 1984. Again at 345-4816. Rebroadcast, retransmission, or transcription is not permissible without the expressed approval of Scoop Squad Truth Squad. Copyright 2023. The opinions expressed on Scoop Squad Truth Pod are those of the hosts and the guests and not those of WVRC Media. The Scoop Squad Truth Pod is copyright 2023 Scoop Squad Truth Squad LLC.